Today is not a terribly fun day. Just in the last few hours, Charlie Kirk was shot and killed. Um, what I want to talk about is not the assassination, the murder of Charlie Kirk, because there's a lot of people who knew Charlie. I didn't know Charlie. I respected Charlie. I was impressed by Charlie. But I didn't know him. So I'll leave talking about the event and the legalities of it and everything else to a lot of people who are better equipped to talk about that than me. What I want to talk about is the reaction by the extreme leftists within big tech and open source to the murder of Charlie Kirk, because it was swift and it was disgusting. It was awful. And it's still ongoing as we sit here and talk. I mean, because all of this is just unfolding as we speak. They're going nuts. And you can guess how it's happening over on Mastodon, the social network from hell. So when I heard the news, that Charlie Kirk had been shot, I was taken aback, because there's just been way too much of this. There's been way too much of this sort of thing. It's been awful, and it's just been awful. And once I kind of wrapped my head around it, before we learned that he had been murdered, that he had passed away, I immediately thought, and I hate that I had to immediately think this, the crazies of open source were going to love it. I immediately thought, you know what? If I go over to the various forums and mailing lists and Mastodon and Blue Sky and everything else, I'm going to find that they absolutely are over the moon about Charlie Kirk getting shot in the neck. And I had to stop myself for a minute, because I didn't want to go check. Because I knew as soon as I checked, as soon as I loaded up Mastodon or the various forums or the Discord channels or anything like that, I knew it would suddenly become a real thing that I would then have to talk about. But this is my job. My job is covering these people, because the rest of the tech journalists aren't going to do it. So I went to Mastodon. I loaded up a couple of Discord servers, and it was just as awful as I thought it could be. And it sucks that it's gotten to a point where we just assume the extreme leftists of open source are not only advocating for violence and murder, they're celebrating it. I'm just going to show you a little bit of it. Because honestly, they're really awful. Here's one from Carol Herbst. Posted this immediately after, like minutes after the news got out, like right after the news got out that Charlie Kirk had been shot in the neck. When behavior has consequences. Now, who's Carol Herbst? Carol Herbst is an employee of Red Hat, is on the Code of Conduct Committee, the behavior enforcers of the Free Desktop organization, is one of the primary driving forces of kicking out the developer of Hyperland from the Free Desktop organization, of trying to destroy Xorg, of trying to censor anyone who talks about Ex Libre. I mean, this person is an extremist activist, and has advocated for violence in the past. And lo and behold, someone gets shot in the neck. Well, if that person isn't exactly in line with Carol Herbst's own declaration of what people should feel and think and vote for, Carol Herbst celebrates it. Here's Tom, the editor-in-chief over at osnews.com. started posting several posts, generally talking about Charlie Kirk getting shot, with a lot of his followers celebrating it and smiley faces and criticisms of all these sorts of people. More on him in a minute because he posted a bunch of stuff. Other people, let's beeping go, yeah. OMG, they shot Charlie Kirk, LMAO. Here's what Tom over at OS News decided to post. This is his response to someone getting shot that he doesn't like. If two bodies exert forces on each other, these forces have the same magnitude but opposite directions. I don't know. I found myself thinking of Newton's third law just now. Shruggy emoticon-y thing. I'm trying not to get super pissed off. I'm trying to channel my inner Fred Rogers right now. I'm not gonna lie, I'm mad. Fascist down, I repeat, fascist down. Couldn't have happened to a worse dude. Charlie Kirk was shot, and that is as much as I care to express about that. I have all the sympathy for Charlie Kirk that he would extend to me were I shot, says man who wants to be a woman over on Mastodon. Rest in piss, Charlie Kirk. I want to see that woman's video. Looks like Donnie is standing there making face at them. Meanwhile, right-wing asshat Charlie Kirk has been shot. While I don't approve of making martyrs of these beeps, I'm sure if he survives, he'll milk it for all it's worth. I cannot stomach the empathy coming from liberals about Charlie Kirk. It reminds me of the kind of crap they said after the fake Trump assassination attempt. Charlie Kirk was a white Christian nationalist. Quite bluntly, there need to be less of those in the world. Ideally, they change their minds, but history supplies examples of other methods. Charlie Kirk has been put down and nothing of value was lost. Wikipedia editors are all racing to be the first to was Charlie Kirk. Says the person with the trans flag emoji. Charlie Kirk got shot while talking about gun violence. He's for more of it, so kudos to him for walking the walk. I still hope he's dead, though, because he is a terrible person. I don't think Charlie Kirk got shot. I think his head just did that, says, again, man who thinks he's a woman. I mean, it goes on and on like this. God, I hope so. I know it's awful to think this place, but they're already upset about trans shooters. Blah, 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 blah. Charlie Kirk is horrible. Charlie Kirk is dead. You may all celebrate accordingly. I suggest popping a bottle of champagne or going out for a fancy dinner. Charlie Kirk is dead. Ding dong, the wicked beep is dead. Poetic that Kirk seems to have been snarky about gun violence when he was killed. I'd like to think that the shooter in the crowd wasn't even planning anything, but then saw Kirk standing there talking about how gun violence isn't a big deal and how gun deaths are an acceptable price to pay for upholding the Second Amendment, and thought, okay, I have the opportunity to do the funniest thing right now. Don't do murder, but never feel bad about being happy about a fascist death. And here's a developer of some mod software. Oh god, what was this mod software called? I wrote it down here. Let me pull this up so I can show you guys. There's this mod software, Dexifex. He was a beeping idiot, so good riddance. The world needs a lot less right-wing nut jobs. I'm just disappointed that the shooter didn't assassinate the toddler in chief and all his Nazis. USA, you know you got a Nazi infestation, right? Blah 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 blah. Something more about calling them Nazis and going and killing the Nazis. Now, so all of these came from Mastodon, with the exception of some of the last few that were posted over on his like Discord server thing. And there's more. There's like thousands more, and a whole bunch of these are from leaders in open source software. I mean, we saw stuff coming in from the head of the Elementary OS project, of course, retweeting a whole bunch of things, and all sorts of stuff. Red Hat employees, a guy from the Python Foundation. Like it's oh my god. The question on my mind right now is, I have several. I mean, obviously, these people are terrible. These people are awful. I mean, there's not a good way to put that. I mean, they're just the worst. These are legitimately bad people. What do we do with this? Where do we go? And I'm not talking about society in general, because you know what? As much as I have opinions about society in general and opinions about politics and whatever else, I know the tech industry. So let's laser focus this in right now. Let's just laser focus this in on big tech and open source and the computing world in general, just for a moment. Let's just focus on that. Within that, what the heck are we supposed to do? We're not talking about a handful of people. We're talking about a lot of people. Huge numbers of people who are regularly advocating for violence and murder of those that they disagree with. Many of these people have advocated for my murder. The editor of osnews.com has literally publicly stated that people should kill me. Not half joking, but I'm a Nazi and therefore must die. Am I a Nazi? No. But what am I? A conservative religious man. All of these people that we're showing here, at least most of them, I've seen them regularly advocating for violence against conservatives, Christians, Jews, Republicans, Trump voters, etc., centrists. The current highest ranking director, other than the executive director, because she's on her way out, of the EFF, the Electronic Frontier Foundation, like the cybersecurity director lady. She has been, over the last few years, advocating for people to commit violence, vandalism, and arson against people. She's encouraged people so far as to put out how-to guides on how to destroy and vandalize Tesla vehicles without getting caught by their camera and security systems. The editor of OS News and several other tech journalists have actively encouraged murdering people based on politics, and then the murders happen. Leaders of open source projects, founders, directors, executive directors, top-level developers, employees whose job it is to be the representative of both foundations and big tech companies like Red Hat here, have been out there regularly encouraging violence, laughing at murder of conservatives or Christians or Jews regularly. So if we've got this situation right now where so many people, including leadership, have been vocally advocating for murder and violence and assassinations and firebombing. I mean, they were just months back advocating for building Molotov cocktails and tossing it at people and moving cars. These same people, some of these same people, I covered that at the Lunduke Journal. It's crazy. What do we do about that? Now, I think like a lot of you, am a bit in the free speech extremism camp, right? Like, people should be able to express themselves, whatever their ideas, no matter how awful their ideas are. We want to allow them to express themselves. I don't want to be in the job. I don't want to have the role of censoring someone else because I don't like the things that they think and say. That's awful. I don't want them to be censoring me because they don't like the things I say. But the real situation we're in is we have real world consequences for the violence that these exact people have been advocating for relentlessly in increasing quantity and in increasing violence for years now. People are dead because of them. We're not talking about, oh, boo-hoo, there's a trans genocide because someone used the wrong pronoun. And if you use the wrong pronoun, that's literally genocide. We're not talking about that kind of violence. We're talking about real people dead, real people actually dying, murdered in cold blood. And it's not just one or two. I mean, go back over the last year or so. I mean, shoot, they tried to assassinate President Trump on the campaign trail. They shot and assassinated multiple interns working for, like, what was it, for like an Israeli related like think tank and whatnot. Like, there was all sorts of stuff. There's been one thing after another. So what do we do? As far as I see it, we only have a couple of options. One is we continue to stick to our free speech absolutism, right? We continue allowing them to preach the hate that they preach because we've been allowing it. We've been fine with it. We have. I mean, I've been covering it. I've been the only one in the whole friggin' tech journalism industry that's been covering this crap. Pardon my French. I'm upset. But otherwise, we've been allowing it. We've just been noticing it. We've been documenting it. We've been jotting it down and saying, okay, we think this is happening. We see what's going on and we don't like it, but we allow it. We allow them advocating for violence and hate and murder. And I see someone mentioning in the chat right now, because I'm live streaming this while I'm recording. I see someone mentioning in the chat right now that it's on both sides. And it's not. It's really not. The murders are all going, at least for the most part, in one direction. And when you hop over on Mastodon, or the Discord servers or the forums or the mailing lists of open source organizations, big tech companies, open source foundation, you never, not once, will find a right-leaning organization that is advocating for this sort of violence. Not one example, not one. However, I can go down a laundry list of big tech companies, big tech foundations, open source projects and organizations that have openly advocated for murder of conservatives, centrists, because they're too far right. They're basically Nazis, according to them, and Christians and Jews. It's all one-sided. Now, I don't personally care what someone's politics are. I have friends who are very, very leftist. I have one friend who I jokingly refer to as my commie buddy. He's a great guy, but his politics are stupid, and I tell him so. We've had conversations about it. It doesn't matter what someone's politics are. You don't do the things that these people are doing. You'll notice I'm not criticizing them for the politics of wanting higher taxes, or talking about the politics of ownership of property by the state. Like, we're not talking about that. What we're talking about is them advocating for murder, them promoting firebombing and violence. That's what we're talking about. And that's what cannot be allowed. And what's driving me up the wall is Red Hat allows it. IBM allows it. The Linux Foundation allows it. The GNOME Foundation, the Debian, all of them, they not only allow it, but in some cases, they encourage it and promote it. They are directly responsible for it. The deaths, they are at least partly to blame for them happening. So what do we do about it? It's a conversation we need to have, because by allowing them to be completely free to speak their minds about all of this awfulness and advocate for the violence, it is allowing it to get worse. It is causing people to die. It is causing people to get kicked out of projects for being a centrist, or a Christian or a Jew. It happens a lot. I've covered it on the Lunduke Journal for the last few years. And it's getting worse. It seemed like maybe there was a moment earlier this year where things could start to turn around a little bit. Donald Trump issued some executive orders. A few corporations started dialing back some of their DEI-related policies. But the hardcore leftists have doubled down. In fact, when IBM and Red Hat, after Donald Trump issued the executive orders basically saying you can't do business with the federal government and military agencies if you do DEI policies, after those executive orders, Red Hat and IBM said, okay, well, we're going to pull back those race-based hiring programs that the Lunduke Journal exposed to the world about 2 years back. Immediately after that, employees at Red Hat began organizing and advocating for violence. I covered this as well in depth, where they were advocating for murder, violence, vandalism, arson, Molotov cocktails, etc. And we are seeing the results of that happening. And those people at Red Hat were not fired. They were not punished. I have that from sources inside the corporation. Something has to happen. I mean, something has to happen. Because at a certain point, this is all just going to explode where it's way beyond where it is now. That's what they're pushing for. They're pushing for it. That's pretty bad. My recommendation at this point is when we see corporations, representatives from corporations and open source organizations doing this sort of thing, we have to speak out about it. At the very least that we can do, the minimum, is contact Red Hat and say, I see that your employees are not only advocating for violence regularly and advocating for censorship of conservatives regularly and pushing illegal DEI practices regularly, but now they're celebrating murder, political assassinations. Something needs to be done. We need to tell them. We need to specifically tell these corporations that we won't allow it. That they should stop it. Should Carol Herbst be fired? Of course. Of course Carol Herbst should be fired. No one should be forced to work around people that celebrate violence like this. At all. It's not okay. Anyway, go to lunduke.com. Check it all out. This is a hell of a day. My prayers are with Charlie Kirk and his family. I don't know what else I can say. It's awful. It's awful. And I'll be continuing to follow all of the horrible people throughout the tech industry that are glorifying violence, praising a murderer, and I'll just continue to shine a light on them because it's all I can think to do. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, nerds and nerdettes across the inner tubes, I do declare, end broadcast.